for Jimmy to get his little conversation with Rob.
I have to use your camera.
I got it if I have to. You got the point.
I never wear jeans and I didn't mess with it today, so.
Okay. We want you back.
I got it. I still feel like I'm in trouble because I'm in the front row.
You are. All right. I heard that.
Okay, thank you everyone for coming tonight for this board meeting, August 12th, 2021. We'll ask everyone to rise for a moment of silence. Think about the people that have financial, mental, and physical problems, and then we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have 3 board members that are going to be remote tonight, Mr. Rosenbaum, Mr. Elsesser, and Rachel Relaford. Would you take roll, please?
Roll call, please. Mr. Elsesser?
Present.
Mr. Rosenbaum?
Present.
And Ms. Relaford?
Present.
Sixteen present.
Go ahead with the approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion, please, for the July 8th, 2021? Have a motion. Rob, a second? Sharon, thank you. Any discussion, comments, additions? Seeing none, those in favor? Oh, I guess we get to vote, don't we? I'm
Yes, you
sorry.
do.
We're not in committee.
That's
Go
okay.
ahead.
You can still say that.
Yeah. Please vote.
Mr. Rosenbaum?
Aye.
Ms. Relaford?
Aye.
And Mr. Elsesser?
Aye.
16 ayes, 0 nays. Next would be citizens' remarks. I have none turned in.
Okay. Long. Consent agenda. Do we have a motion for the consent? Eden. Linda, thank you. Any discussion, comments on the consent agenda? Okay. Nice crowd tonight. Okay.
I'm sorry, Jim. Who made that motion?
Eden did.
And second?
Linda Daly.
Thank you.
Billy, please vote.
Ms. Relaford?
Aye.
Oops. Mr. Rosenbaum?
Aye.
And Mr. Elsesser?
Aye.
16 ayes. Next, we would be at zoning ordinance and resolutions. Item number 1, case ZBA 2021-000025. Petition of Mary Schuler, a rezoning request from A2 agriculture to RR rural residential. The petitioner proposes to rezone 8.839 acres in order to create a buildable lot. The parcel is located in Radnor Township. The Zoning Board of Appeals recommends denial. The Land Use Committee recommends denial.
Do I have a motion, Mr. Dillon? And a second, Eden Blair. Mr. Dillon.
So this case, you don't see it very often, but is a recommended denial unanimously through the ZBA and through our committee. I'll give you a little background on it. We are prepared. We had a presentation, but it's a very in-depth presentation, so unless you want to see that, but I'll give you the background of why we're recommending denial. This is already a property that was split, so by splitting it again, they would be allowed to subdivide it into smaller lots, 1 acre buildable lots. This is in a floodplain, but it's never been actually surveyed to say a floodplain, but it is down by a creek. So 3/4 of, I believe, like 3/4 of that property would be in the floodplain. It's on not one of the greatest township roads with a very small bridge, and it comes down on a curve. So there was multiple issues in this, and it was basically said to them, you would need to do a floodplain study to prove that this is not floodplain, because once this was granted, they would be able to split it even more. So it was recommended denial by ZBA. Kathy and Andrew put together a nice presentation, because it's not every day that we recommend denials in that, so we went through it on the board. So the yes vote tonight is to affirm the ZBA and the board's recommending denial. So even though that's how that would be worded. So a yes vote is to deny this. So that's the basics of the issues there. If anybody wanted to get into the presentation, they are prepared, but it is a lengthy presentation. So I wasn't planning on doing it, but I'm happy to answer any questions if you do have it in regards to that.
Thank you, Mr. Dillon. Anyone have questions? Yes, Linda.
I just had a quick comment. I have dealt with a lot of floodplain issues and people who are seeking funds because they built a house in a floodplain. I applaud you, even if this perhaps is not a popular decision, for thinking ahead, because once these houses are flooded, it costs everyone a fortune to buy those houses when people knew they were in a floodplain when they were built. So I applaud you for thinking down the road and realizing you shouldn't be building a house in a floodplain.
Thank you. Mr. Dillon?
I wish I could take credit, Linda, but it's amazing staff that we have that has put together all these rules and goes through all this and reviews it. So kudos to the staff again, as always, for what they do.
Well, to everybody who came to this conclusion after looking at the facts.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, please vote.
Mr. Elsasser? Mr. Elsasser?
Oh, I'm sorry. Aye. I had my mute on for a minute.
That's okay. Ms. Relaford?
Aye.
And Mr. Rosenbaum?
Aye.
16 ayes. Motion passes. Next is item 2, case number ZBA 2021-000026, petition of Hoken Jacobs Enterprises, Inc., a special use request from section 20-5.8.2.1.n.1 of the Unified Development Ordinance. This section allows for a tavern not exceeding a floor area of 5,000 square feet if located closer than 500 feet from the residential district, religious institution, or school in the C2 General Commercial Zoning District. The petitioner proposes to operate a tavern located closer than 500 feet from a residential district. The parcel is located in Limestone Township. The Zoning Board of Appeals recommends approval with restriction. The Land Use Committee concurs.
Motion, Mr. Dillon. Second, Ms. Blair. You're going to have to start spreading around. You're quite the team there. Mr. Dillon.
Thank you, Chairman Fennell. So we have the petitioners are present and the owners of the property if there are any questions. But this is in Madison Park, which is Sharon's district, Madison Park Shopping Center. It's on the end where a cell phone store used to be, I believe, is that location. So very close to my house, Sharon's house, and Andrew's house. It fits the neighborhood. There's one already across the street. I believe a couple neighbors did oppose it with written comments, but it was approved unanimously through the ZBA and approved through our board unanimously. So that's just explanation. If there is a question of the petitioner is here, and they did submit evidence at the hearing, so they are allowed to talk at this. So.
Does anyone have any questions? Kate?
What were the objections in regard to, and then also, what are the restrictions?
I actually let Kathy speak to those. It was the two neighbors directly right there concerned about traffic and noise. But
Yes, there were actually 3 objections. The first was that there is already a gaming facility right across the street. They didn't think there would be another one, and it could cause potential trouble in the area. The second objection was they thought there could be a nuisance-type complaints due to this facility in the area. And the third was that they don't need a tavern in the area, and Kroger caused a lot of litter, and they don't want to see litter again in that parking lot. The restriction is that this special use would apply only to the location in the Madison Park Shopping Center, which is at the far western side. It couldn't be moved elsewhere within the shopping center.
Is this use allowed if somebody else purchases this business, or would they have to come back to us for this same use?
It would be allowed if someone else purchased it.
Any other questions? Okay, please vote.
Mr. Elsasser?
Aye.
Ms. Relaford? Ms. Relaford?
Aye.
And Mr. Rosenbaum?
Aye.
16 ayes. Motion passes.
Thank you. And good luck on your new venture, and hope that you are the responsible people that we are putting our faith in, and you will keep the neighborhood nice and clean. So, thank you.
Item number 3, case WAV 2021-0001, petition of Don Wallace, a resolution from your Land Use Committee recommending approval of a waiver of compliance from Section 20-8.3.4.1.B.2.A of the Unified Development Ordinance. This section requires a new minor subdivision to have public water supply. The petitioner is proposing to serve a 1-lot subdivision with private well. The parcel is located in Rosefield Township.
Okay, motion, Mr. Dillon. I'm gonna look over you, Ms. Blair. Second, please. No, Sharon, I've had, Rob, thank you. Okay, discussion. Any discussion? Okay, Mr. Spreaker.
Yeah, just maybe Kathy could talk about the private well versus a public water system, and the consideration that we put into it, or the zoning committee put into that, just for more of a transparency in that decision.
Okay, thank you.
Kathy, can you speak more directly into the microphone?
Yes, sorry. Is that better? Any petition for a water waiver requires submittal of well information showing the gallons per minute that the well produces. That information is provided to our health department so they can provide comments. 3 gallons per minute is required to be able to adequately service a house. This well actually produced 6 gallons per minute, so it does exceed our requirement. You'll also see the same kind of information on agricultural splits for houses as well as some of your rezoning cases. So that is information that we require ahead of time before they even submit the information for their application, and the health department also reviews as well.
Okay, no, thank you for that. And I guess from the well standpoint, is the well serving this single property, or is it a well that's serving a separate property and it will be serving the additional property?
It will be serving, there's also already an existing house on this property. So they are just splitting off a little less than 2 acres with the house to sell to a family member. So it's an existing well that serves the existing house. Currently, they're not planning on putting any kind of structure on the remaining parcel.
And if they did, they would have to come back for a
They would n-
rezoning with,
They would not need to come back, but they would need to go through the health department to get a well permit, and the health department would check all of their requirements at that time.
okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Kathy. Any other questions? Yes, Kate?
Did this go through zoning board of appeals?
It does not. Waivers only go through the land use committee and then the
Okay.
county board.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? Seeing none, please vote.
Mr. Alcesser?
Aye.
Ms. Relaford?
Aye.
And Mr. Rosenbaum?
Aye.
16 ayes, motion passes. Next is item 4, a resolution from your executive committee recommending approval to settle Peoria County Circuit Clerk case number 19L94 for a payment amount not to exceed $200,000.
Could I have a motion? Betty? Linda, thank you. Discussion, we've discussed this in executive session, so there's not much we can do in open session. If you wanted, we can go to executive session for further discussion, but if you recall from our discussions on this, I think most of us were there, so any comments, questions? Phil?
Mr. Chairman, I voted against this in our executive committee last month, and I had been misinformed about something that the individual is for this suit is still alive. I thought they were deceased, and so that's why I had voted against it, and I will be voting yes tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Salzer. Any other comments? Ms. Pastrusa?
I'm just going to abstain. I didn't hear any of the information, so I'm going to abstain from this vote.
Any other questions, comments? Please vote.
Mr. Alcesser?
Aye.
Ms. Relaford?
Aye.
And Mr. Rosenbaum?
Aye.
15 ayes, 0 nays, and 1 abstention. Item 5, suspension of rules.
Our legal counsel will explain this.
You'll vote to suspend your local rules because this proclamation didn't come up through a committee. So in order to vote on it tonight, you'll have to suspend your rules with regard to that.
Okay, could I have a motion, please? Kate? Yes, Jennifer, thank you. All right, any questions, comments on what we're doing? I think we've done it enough. Okay, all those in favor, please vote.
Mr. Alcesser?
Aye.
Ms. Relaford?
Aye.
And Mr. Rosenbaum?
Aye.
16 ayes.
I must say, those that are not in favor can vote too. Okay. Yeah, I know. I thought Steve was picking through the weeds there, what I said.
Item,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Item 6, a proclamation extending the declaration of emergency due to COVID-19 in Peoria County, Illinois.
Phil, thank you. Junior, you seconding? Okay, thank you much. Any discussion? Please vote. Yes or no?
There you go. Mr. Elsesser?
Nay.
I'm sorry?
No.
No, okay. Ms. Relaford?
No.
And Mr. Rosenbaum?
No.
Mr. Ricker? Oh,
Didn't fill out a sheet.
Right, so it's your prerogative. I just wanted
Yeah, I think we'll just do that. Okay.
Mr. Ricker and
You can vote yes or no.
Vice Chair Fennel? 13 ayes, 3 nays. Motion passes. Next would be at Miscellaneous and Announcements.
Okay, we'll start here to the left. Debbie, do you have anything to give us? Okay. Sharon? Kate, you never pass nothing.
I'm just looking forward to a smooth school year, so good luck.
Brian Elsesser.
Left.
As we all are. I think we're all in agreement with that, yes. Linda? Nothing? Rob? Brandy? Eden? Yes, thank you.
I just want to wish all my Bradley students the best of luck this year, and I hope I get to see their bright and shining faces at some point. That'd be great.
Jennifer?
I just wanted to thank our regional superintendent for all the effort she's put in and her team for encouraging everyone to get enrolled and get registered. There was a big kickoff this past month, and hopefully we see those numbers go up this school year.
Mr. Ricker?
I wanted to echo very similar to Jennifer, is to support the Regional Office of Education and their plea for families and parents to make sure their children are back in school, learning, don't miss the opportunity, because that's their future they're looking at. So again, just as a strong support and ask, please be involved, engaged with your children, and have them in school. Thank you.
Mr. Dillon? Nothing? Okay. Mr. Salzer?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. On Monday of next week, the 16th, I believe that is, the Infrastructure Committee, I just want to remind you, we are going to tour the Greater Peoria Sanitary District, and that will be at 8:30, and masks are required. So if you plan on attending. And of course, we want to invite every one of you who are members of the board. Feel free to come as well. It's not just limited to us. So I'm just reminding you as well, wear a mask.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, Mr. Dillon?
I just would be remiss if I didn't mention, I know many of you had seen him at many meetings when he had come to speak, or if you had ever gone to the Sheriff's Awards, but condolences to the family of Pete Pasquale, who passed away, who was a long time, I don't know how many years he was on the Sheriff's Merit Commission, but it was as long as I've been down here, and long. So I didn't notice that until I saw something on Facebook the other day about him passing, but he had been down at numerous meetings and had been, anything he would go at the sheriff's office, he usually was there. So condolences to the family for a longtime cheerleader of the Peoria area. He did love this place.
Thank you, Mr. Dillon. Mr. Watkins? Let it roll. I will make one comment personally. I was on today on a Zoom meeting with 3 other members of the board discussing things for the strategic planning meeting, and I thought it went really well. I was the only male, and they still let me talk. So anyway, but it did go well, and I hope that the rest of you, when you have your opportunity, it goes as well for you. Thank you. We are adjourned.